Hey everyone, and welcome back to My Athenaeum. Let's take a look together through the news and records of our times as we try to shed light upon the unvarnished truth. The truth, nowadays, can be hard to find. And even though the truth can be hard to find, it's staring us in the face every single day. Who can deny the never ending crime spree and surges? Who can deny that those who are committing violent felonies are getting younger every year? Who can deny that Chicago has a culture of violence when, in one weekend, 60 people can be shot? Or who can deny that in Democratic run states, mass shooters run rampant, such as the mass shooting that happened last night in Baltimore, injuring 30 and killing at least two? And who can deny that this rise in crime, in part at least, has come from fatherless homes? And the problem then repeats because statistics show that young children who grow up without a father are more likely to commit suicide, end up in jail, or worse. So it's a revolving door of violence, and it has become a culture in many major cities. I mean, in New York, at least in New York City, it seems like almost every day some innocent person is shoved onto the subway tracks by some deranged or racist person. And why is there so much crime? Well, it's because we have allowed prosecutors, judges, and district attorneys into the system who operate solely on political biases. Crime would go down if the bad criminals stayed in jail. But if a mass shooter has been arrested over 20 times previously, when was justice ever served? Or when was this person's behavior corrected? Instead of locking up criminals, we give them an ankle monitor and send them right back into the communities they just violently damaged. And then we wonder why crime is skyrocketing. I don't think anyone can deny how much time we spend on social media is affecting our lives in untold ways. How many hours a day do you spend on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the internet, Reddit, Pinterest, DoorDash, MySpace, Craigslist, games on your phone, games on your computer, games on your video game console? And yet, how much time did you spend with your family, or your neighbor, or with God? Nobody can deny that what happened in the Catholic Church over the last 20 years seriously diminished the following in the church. However, true believer would say that the church didn't damage its reputation, but bad actors who were allowed in and went unchallenged affected the church's image, and then therefore the church's response in covering it up. Nobody can deny that children are being sexually exploited at a disgusting and alarming rate. And it's not just the LGBTQ movement or the MAP or no MAP movements, but teachers, preachers, and doctors who would deny science and preach false science in the name of gender affirmation. And I would also say that nobody can deny that mainstream media sources lie to your face every single day. And the fact checkers that they spewed out to defend the system have never checked facts, just ideology. Now, I think if we're being honest with ourselves, that we could then admit we, as a society, have become lazy, indoctrinated, self-centered, arrogant, and deceitful. If over 50% of America is overweight, then aren't we lazy? Or at the very least, undisciplined in our eating and exercise habits? If people run around on a high horse screaming of righteous indignations, which are based on a false narrative, then aren't you indoctrinated and too blind to see the truth? If people would rather film someone being raped, shot, stabbed, beaten, assaulted, or whatever else, and would instead choose just to film the situation for likes and clicks, instead of intervening, we are self-centered. As Tom MacDonald said, we care more about the likes on our selfies than our moms. Of course, we're arrogant. We don't respect China or the threat they pose to the global order. We arm Ukraine with all but people on the ground and say that we're not involved in a war effort. Of course, our arrogance blinds us from buying slave-created products that come from China. And social media has turned us into spiteful and deceitful creatures who would do anything for likes, comments, subscriptions, money, and donations. Nobody can deny that Uyghur Muslims were kidnapped, tortured, and held in concentration camps in China. Same as nobody can deny the obvious slave labor that goes into lithium and cobalt mining, which powers everything from your phone to your car to your smart devices and just about anything else with a battery nowadays. I would argue nobody can deny that child sex trafficking is out of control, and child pornography has been allowed to become normalized, even though we're not supposed to talk about it on social media. You cannot tell me that our border is secure. You cannot tell me how many illegal migrants have entered the US over the last 10 years. Nor can you tell me where the migrants are, what they do for a living, or if they manage to vote, or if they have committed serious crimes. So, my friends, the truth is right there in front of us. We can all see it. If you say you can't see it, you're just ignorant or woefully evil. The truth will always shine light upon the darkness, and that is what I try to bring to you. In a day and age where it's beginning to be hard to tell what's real and what's not, what with AI art, video and audio distortions, and all the ways that AI blurs the lines of reality, the truth can feel as though it's harder to find. It's not. It's just being hidden from you. It's being hidden behind agents of evil, and their darkness. Stand strong and push those out of the way who hold contempt for your existence, and bring peace forward unto them and unto others, and the truth will never be far behind. That's really about all I've got to say for this episode. I mean, I would say if you've come to my channel lately, you've noticed that my videos are not quite the same as when I started out. Some of that's become, so the reasoning behind some of that, I think, is because there is so much to follow up on right now, just in the world. I could do an episode every day and still not be caught up. I could do a 3-hour episode on the weekend and just cover the news of that week and still not have every time for everything. And it got to the point there for a while where, at least recently, I've been just kind of burned out. And that's not good. That's what I'm trying to advise people on here. Don't fall into this trap. I got tired of politics to some degree. I just got tired of the fact that how can this same thing hit the news cycle day after day after day, and no one changes anything. No one does anything different. We just complain about it and expect something to change. No one does what's right, it feels like. And so I just step away from social media. And in that time, I came to remember, to recognize, and to realize that there is still good in this world. There's still people doing good humanitarian things every single day. There's people taking care of other human beings and animals and just doing amazing works of kindness every single day. And it shines on my heart to see that. It gives me hope for the future. Because there's some days, if you follow politics like I do, where you can easily lose hope, lose faith in humanity, become bitter towards your fellow man. That's not fair. It's not right. And so with this episode, the point of it is truth. That was what I created that's what I created my channel to be. A place and source of truth where you can come to find the truth when mainstream media lies to your face. And I've come to realize the more that you defend your position, in some regards, the more, this isn't the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? The more you're forced to defend your side, the more you believe you are inevitably right and that the other side is just inherently wrong. What this time away from the internet has kind of reminded me of is that there is hope for people. Some people are never going to change, but there are some people like me who just need the truth, who need the facts, who will do anything for the truth. And when I become opinionated, it can pull from the truth. I would say that I could see that sometimes in my arguments, I may leave out parts of the other side of the argument. So that way I don't have to deal with it in my conversation, right? And that's not exactly fair. To bring the truth, you need to bring the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I decided to try to bring it back to basics with this episode. Tell me if you think I did a good job down in the comments section. I'd appreciate it. My goal of this video was to say, here is what's happening. If I need to go get video evidence of it, news, headlines, whatever, cool. I'll make another follow-up episode and put all that in here for you. But these are all things that are just commonplace, mainstream news subjects that are out there. And I think we can all agree, here's the truth on these subjects. Here is where the truth lies. Once we have the same set of facts about what a situation is, then we can go and make our decisions about how the situation should be treated. But if we have different and opposing facts about what the situation is, how can we come to terms of agreement on how to fix whatever the problem is? We have to see the problem for exactly what it is, no matter how nuanced and detailed and messy it may get, no matter how long the conversation needs to be extended to, so that every topic of the conversation can be fixed. And so, I would remind you, we need to bring these topics up to our friends, our family, our neighbors, to anyone on the streets, anyone who can vote. You need to bring up these topics because are you tired of dealing with this yet? Are you tired of this being the headlines every single day, every other week, every other month? Mass shooting this, violence that, political backstabbings, political crucifixions, you know what I mean? Or do you want journalists to just say, hey, here's what happened. Here's the facts, here's the names, here's the who, what, when, where, why, and maybe even the how. You are an adult. You can go figure out how you feel based off this information. That's what journalism should be, and that's what I'm trying to bring back. Now, of course, YouTube would probably ban me, demonetize me, or do whatever they can to hide this video because we talked about child sex trafficking and child pornography. It happens. It's disgusting and abhorrent. And it's even worse that YouTube would hide a video of someone trying to bring light to this difficult subject, to this horrible subject, where these kinds of people who commit these crimes should be abused and tortured before capital punishment, in my professional opinion. They don't deserve fair treatment under the law. That's my opinion. And yet, their crimes are being excused. Your children are suffering because YouTube doesn't want me to talk about the predators that are online. You should really think about who has your interests at heart. Who has your child's best interests at heart? Anyway, thanks for coming back. I appreciate y'all being here. I hope this video was enlightening in some ways, and I hope it really just brought it back to the basics of what this channel should be. And I hope you can appreciate my channel for that. Anyway, sounds like my cat's getting bored. I'm going to go hang out with her, play some catch with a little bird and feather toy that she likes. And I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for coming.